Marisa Lai, are you ready? Let's have a look at your disc report and let's see what we can learn. Hey, how you doing there?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. What have you learned
Thank you
about
for
yourself
having
so
me.
far? My pleasure.
Uh, well, my from how I face challenges is I'm actually quite decisive and daring. In terms of people context, I am persuasive, I am enthusiastic, and I'm actually quite surprised that my S is so low. But well, I mean, thinking back, I think in terms of like working with people, I'm a team player. I actually take on the nurturing role when it comes to working with my team. But however, I get a bit thrown off if things are not very consistent. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
excellent.
and that's when the energy comes in to try to rush everybody along and
Go, 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 go.
yes.
Okay. Well, let's learn about that. What is your 12-month goal? Where do you want to be 12 months from today? What are you aiming for 12 months from now?
Okay, because I recently just started a new venture.
Hmm.
Um, I've been sidetracked a bit, but anyways, coming back to that, my goal would be to earn a consistent income from it.
Hmm.
So if you want to target maybe 250,000 in Singapore dollars by the end
Excellent.
of the year,
Excellent.
just from this project alone.
Wonderful. So consistent income of
Yeah.
250,000 Sing dollars. And what are three things that excite you about earning 250,000 Sing dollars just on this project?
It would mean that, hey, I can do it, and full control, and I have more ammunition emotionally, and to actually pursue my other projects because I'm a creative person. I have a lot of ideas, and I just need to know that I have the knowledge and the trust in myself, basically. So this project for me is very important. I talk a lot about trust because I realize that I don't have that. Yeah. And the D
Okay.
person comes to rush me as well. So that's
Good. Excellent. So consistent income of 250,000 per year by December
yes,
this year for this project. And what else is important about this to you and what excites you is having the belief that I can do it,
yes,
feeling in full control and also having that trust in yourself.
yes, spot
Excellent.
on.
Excellent. Now, in relation to the 250,000 Sing dollars, where are you starting from? What's the current income on the project?
We're about 30,000, so about 220,000 short.
Okay, so 30,000, good. And the gap is going to be 230.
And yeah, 220.
220, 220. Okay,
Yes.
excellent. So the gap of 220. Okay, well, let's start to brainstorm some ideas and let's get more clarity on your disc report. So just to confirm, is this your report
Yes,
on the screen?
that's me.
Excellent. Wonderful. Let's have a look at page number 12. And on page 12, we have your word sketch. So
Yeah,
these are the words that describe how you approach people and contacts. The first word,
yeah,
emotional, enthusiastic, gregarious, impulsive, optimistic, persuasive. Which of those
yeah.
words best describe you?
From the red column, right?
From the yellow. Oh, sorry,
Sorry, the
no, we're,
yellow.
we're doing, sorry, S style. My apologies.
S style,
When
sorry.
it comes to managing the pace and the consistency of the environment, discontented, energetic, fidgety, or impetuous.
I'll manage my discontentment, but in on the autos aspect, I'll be energetic because I know how other people get pressured as well. So I'm very intuitive, so I know how the team works. So I try to self-manage.
Excellent. Wonderful. So you've got energetic and energetic. What does that mean to you when it comes to managing the pace and consistency of the environment? You're energetic. What does that mean to you?
That means I read like how do you say if people are tired based on too much work, can we stop and reconsider or review and check in with our plans and do a little bit of like a team morale thing where you kind of boost everyone up and focus on what we have done well.
Hmm.
So yeah, that kind of from that kind of aspect. So take breaks, mini breaks, and then like and come back to the goal, something like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So it's reading people, it's checking in, it's team morale, it's taking mini breaks. Now,
Yeah.
this quality, and this is the next question, why
Yeah.
are these important to you? Reading people, checking in, team morale, mini breaks. Why is that important to you?
Because as long as it's outside of you, you don't really have much control because anything can happen. Yeah. And I'm a super control freak. But at the same time, I also understand that the best people to manage people are actually themselves. So it's a lot to do with trust. So the more you trust yourself and the more you trust your teammates, it builds better understanding. Yeah. And to me, having a clear line of communication and that safe space to actually talk about it is very important. Yeah.
Excellent.
Clarity. Yes.
Excellent. So this steadiness style, which is energetic, for you means reading people, checking in, team morale, mini breaks, and understanding that you have no control of the external. However, at the same time, you're a super control freak.
Yes.
So I want you to think about this quality. How can you use this quality to help you achieve the goal of 250,000? And remember, there's a gap of 220,000. So how can you use this energetic approach to help you to achieve your goal?
Well, that's a tricky one. So I guess in the way that we plan our projects, we could make it more exciting. Yes, and to actually always manage pace. So there are times where you have to speed things up, and there's times where you have to keep it controlled. So you really have to walk the balance. That's through proper planning. So the control bit is through planning and research, and then injecting the energy as and when you need it.
Excellent.
I'm thinking that it's like this.
Excellent. And that same quality, we've got our yin and yang. We have both sides to it. How could this energetic approach hurt you, or how could it hold you back on closing that gap of 220,000?
Okay, I'm speaking from a point of view like I'm the leader. So energy wise, because I try to manage everything from a control point of view, I always get burnt out. So as much as I'm an extrovert, I'm a closet introvert because I need my alone time to recharge and to do my own thing, be it painting or reading or stuff like that. And then before I get out. Yeah. I'm a private person as much as I'm an extroverted person.
Okay. So a
Yes.
couple of things that you've got to watch out for as you work towards this goal is you've got to be mindful of burnout.
Yes.
You've got the time where you're an extrovert, and then you need to have time where you can just explore the inner world and be an introvert.
It sounds like I have bipolar, right?
Hey, which is not a bad thing. I think sometimes when people have got bipolar, they have twice as much fun.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you need to have some me time as well.
Yes.
So what happens is, and you understand balance, is when it comes to achieving your goal, balance in the personality is also important. So you've got these strengths that can both help or hurt you. And avoiding the burnout is going to be very important, because once we burn out, recovery from burnout or adrenal fatigue can be 2 or 3 years
Yes.
just to recover from that. But I think there's a lot of people here today who haven't been burned out for 2 years or 5 years, but they could have been burned out for 10 or 20 years. And they just haven't had the courage to leave that job.
Yes.
So we've got to think through this. So energetic. Now, I want you to think a couple of moves away. I want you to start to think a couple of months from now.
Okay.
What challenges are you going to anticipate? What are some of these obstacles that are going to arise as a result of moving towards this goal? You understand that you can't control the external things, but there's going to be things that come up that are beyond your control. So what are going to be some of these obstacles in the next 8 to 12 months?
Manpower, I guess. I cannot control when people will leave or come. The clients, as much as I can only focus on what I can do, right? So in terms of building, let's say, a community and things like that, I have no idea. I'm really new to this space. So that's one. And then the industry as well, learning new things. So it's just lots of things I could get lost. Yeah. And And it's the first time I'm doing a project on my own. I've always been in independent roles. I'm a self-starter and an initiator, but there's always someone to answer to. So this approval thing is like, that's why I speak a lot about trusting myself, because the approval now comes from me. I have to approve of myself and learn how to be okay with the decisions that I make and not to be critical, because the D in me comes out and then it always says like, oh, you could be doing so much better. What's that one more call? Yeah, it drives me insane.
Excellent. So for the external obstacles, it can be manpower, it can be clients, it can be industry, and it can be the first time on the project and you've got to learn a lot. And some of those internal obstacles are going to be accountability, especially when there's nobody there to answer to because you're doing this for the first time by yourself.
Yes.
So one of the inner obstacles is accountability. The other inner obstacle that you mentioned is it's kind of learning to say no, because if we have a look at your disc style here, the high D in you is argumentative, daring, demanding, decisive, domineering, egocentric, go, go, go. You can always do another call. You can always make another 10 calls. You can always do another 100. And one of the problems with the high D, it just doesn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
So it's like having an inner conflict, like we were talking to Tracy about before. You can have an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other one. And it could be the extroverted part of you who says, come on, let's go out there and make some sales and talk to people. And the introverted says, you know what, Marisa, let's just go home. Let's just do some art. Let's do some painting. And they start to fight. But that's incredibly draining. And for all of us to understand is when we have these inner conflicts between the angel and the devil, between good and bad and right or wrong, that actually leads to cancer. Leads to cancer. Inner conflicts in the mind lead to cancer.
Okay.
And none of us want to end up with cancer, do we? So we've got to learn to find this balance. And for you, it's learning to say no to yourself. I'm a high D and I know I can make another 100 calls. I can do another 10 webinars until I get burned out.
Yeah.
And then the road to recovery is very long. Okay. Yeah. So we've got the external obstacles. We have the inner obstacles. And what's one thing that you can start doing today to leverage this energetic style? What's one thing that you can do to start leveraging this energetic style in getting another step closer to your goal?
I'm just thinking about my schedule. So like block out the me times and be very strict about it.
Good. Okay. Write that down on paper right now.
Okay.
Block out me time.
Block out me time. Yes.
Now, one of your challenges on top of that is that you have nobody to answer to. You've got no accountability. So, Marisa, as soon as you've blocked out that me time in your calendar, write to me immediately and let me know you've done it. Because if you don't write to me, then I'm going to have a sleepless night.
Awesome.
And that's what a coach does. They hold you accountable. So let's go back through this together. And then I'm going to explain to you something else. Let me just take a couple of notes. And I'm going to help you gain some greater clarity here. Okay. So are you enjoying the hot seating, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, it's making me hot. I'm really warm.
You can learn so much. And we say this is accelerated learning because we're using science. There's no guesswork. And so in a moment, I'm going to show you, Marisa, a couple of other things. Well, Masterclass, let's get Marisa back into the hot seat. Yep. I still want more of her time. Okay. Awesome. We're going to go back through this. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just following our scientific formula here for coaching. So first thing is you want to have a consistent income of 250,000 Sing dollars from this project. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the three things that excite you about this is developing that belief of I can do it, having full control, trusting in yourself. Yes. And this place that you're starting from is that this is a new venture. And at the moment, you don't have that level of trust in yourself as of yet. So that level of trust is something that you need to learn how to do that this year. Now, the gap to close for you is 220,000, and it's also developing that belief. Because a lot of people, when it comes to goal setting, they might look at the dollars and go, I've got to close the gap on 220,000. we also have to develop ourselves to become that person. And as part of your development is to develop the belief systems. And that's where you need things like NLP, because NLP helps you do that really quickly. So as we were brainstorming here, the word that describes how you approach the pace and consistency of the environment is energetic. Now, you also mentioned something before, which was intuitive. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But energetic for you is about reading people. It's checking in. It's team morale. It's having mini breaks. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And on the way to your goal, you've got to be mindful of the things that you can and can't control. Now, for you, because you're a super control freak, as you mentioned, you've got to be able to balance between what you can and can't control. Because if we get caught up trying to fix the things that we have no control of, we lose all of our energy. And how you can get around that, as you mentioned before, you can do project planning. You can manage your pace. You can control your balance. You can do planning. You can do research. And also in this planning phase, you need to avoid burnout.
Yeah.
And so that's where the introvert part of you says, I need some me time. So a couple of the obstacles, and all of us have obstacles. And this is where a lot of goal setting goes wrong. People set a goal and go, wow, I'm going to earn $1 million this year. Nothing's going to go wrong. What happens? You set a goal for $1 million and everything that could go wrong goes wrong. And that's part of the journey. So for you, obstacles are going to include manpower, clients, industry, and also for you, first time on the project. And then secondly, it's having nobody to hold you accountable. And sometimes we need not just accountability for the things that we say we're going to do, we also need to have accountability for the things that we should be saying no to. That's just as important because as you mentioned before, you could just go and have no me time and you'll get burned out. So somebody has to hold you accountable and say, Marisa, no, enough's enough. And so that's where we get to the next part of your plan is the first thing that you have to do is you've got to block out me time.
Yes.
See how it all comes down to one action. And one new idea at the right time is enough to change your life. Okay, how do you feel about your plan moving forward?
Great. Step one in the right direction.
Okay, this is where we get really deep into DISC, and I want to spend a few more moments with you because you mentioned some interesting things. And because of DISC, I can help you accelerate really quickly. Are you ready to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So eyes on the screen. First of all, you mentioned before bipolar. Now, what can happen is our DISC style natural can be different to our DISC style adapted. And what you'll feel at times is you'll feel this bipolar nature because your natural style is DI, high D, high I. And then your adapted style, notice what happens here. Your I style remains the same, but that D style drops away. Now, it drops by around about 36 points. Now, when our DISC styles drop by about 10% or 10 points, we're going to notice a significant difference in our personality. But when it drops by 36 points from natural to adapted, you'll experience a totally different personality. Where you might have been more introverted, you'll become more extroverted. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So that's where that first challenge is coming from. And it's something that you'll have to learn to manage because you also see this big shift in your S style here. From your natural style on the right to your adapted style on the left, the S style energy increases by 26 points. And what will happen is under stress, you'll actually not move faster, you'll actually slow down.
Yes.
You felt that before?
Yes, very much. So I used to think that because accountability is so huge for me, I guess like I've been doing quite a little bit of some work on myself. So I realized that there's like some trauma and things like that. So approval is very important. So I kind of like mistake it for when I work in a group, I tend to want to be accountable to the group so much that if there are like 10 people on it, they're running at different paces, I get disappointed. And I think that's when the I comes in. When I work, it becomes social. What do the masses want? And then I don't get expressed as a person. And yes, so it's a vicious cycle in that sense.
So this is where it comes from.
Yeah.
Your natural style, you want to move really fast. So when we have a look at this natural style here, I'm just going to clean up this page a little bit. Don't you love this? What you can learn in just a short period of time. So what you can see here is your natural style is fast, 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 fast. So all of those styles are fast, fast, fast. However, over here, it's like medium, fast, medium, and like super fast. So on the right-hand side, you have consistency of speed, but when your adaptive style comes along and you're under moderate stress, tension, and fatigue, your pace and consistency is all over the place. Now I'm moving at a medium pace to solve problems and challenges. I'm still moving at a fast pace with people and contacts. Now, when it comes to relationships and the pace of the environment, I'm going at a medium pace. But when it comes to dealing with policy and constraints, I'm going so fast that I'm probably making huge errors. I'm making too many decisions intuitively, but not spending enough time to actually go through all the details. And then you'll probably find you make a ton of mistakes after that.
That's
True.
some hot water there.
So, my friend, in summary, you do need a lot of coaching around here to balance out this style. And you need things like NLP so you can overcome those past traumas, because past traumas can impact our personality style. We're busy, we're working, we try to block out these past traumas by getting busy with work. But when we actually get to slow down and do the things that we love, like art, these past traumas often come up to the surface. And you're like, why am I dealing with this stuff when I should be enjoying myself? And so what's the answer? Go back to work and then get burned out and blame it on burnout.
Sounds tiring.
How long have you done that for?
Quite some time actually. So
Okay.
like it's how do you say, it's got adrenaline in it. So I guess that's what's been keeping me alive and excited.
There's some work to do. And if you work on these things over the next year, then what you'll find is that you'll achieve your goals and you'll do it easily because you won't be fighting against yourself internally. So when there's an opportunity for you to come and learn NLP with me, make sure you do it because we can deal with those past traumas. Okay. Now, what's one thing you learned in this hot seat session? What's your takeaway?
I think the biggest thing is to say no. And but there's so many things that I learned. Thank you very much, Daniel. Like I read the report and I never knew you could read it that way, that how my natural self has whatever it takes to actually be a very like high potential and help me, like it can help me reach my goals and whatever ambitions that I set up for myself. It's the perfect combination. However, like all the other stuff in the way is not so cool. And I can't imagine scoring less than 2, like such a low mark. I mean, the DME is like, what? Only 2 for the
And this is
blue
what
portion?
George was talking about before. George is in my mastermind, and in our mastermind, we give all of our students access to this disc technology. And I teach you how to read this, both for yourself and for your family and friends. And since George has learned to do this, he's acquired 18 customers this month, $200 per hour. And also Boston Consulting Group has reached out to him and said, we want you to come and consult our people. And so there's so much to learn about DISC. There's so much that you can see on the surface. And as we teach you what's below the surface, you can have some massive breakthroughs. And this is why our people in our mastermind grow so fast, because what I can show you in a couple of minutes, Marisa, takes most people 20 or 30 years to try to figure out without their support or without help. So when we get the opportunity, we'll go deeper. Well done. Top job.
Thank you.
My pleasure.